Hello, everyone. Welcome back to D Squared Stories, an audio fiction podcast bringing you short serialized weekly stories. Today, we are going to be getting into Chapter 3 of the heroic adventures of Everyman. As always, without any further ado, let's get into a quick recap and get started. Last time, Everyman and Emerald Eye staked out a location of suspected power theft and found a young man, Sparkling Sparkson, sapping power from the PowerCo electric grid. He escaped them in their first encounter. All the while, Emerald was having a rocky relationship with her sister, who was pleading with her to support the ongoing protests against pharmaceutical giant Frankenstein and Frankenstein. They eventually tracked him down to an orphanage that he was stealing the power for. Another fight broke out before they could talk, and Emerald Eye learned she could cast flames from any point in her body where her blood vessels were exposed. Emerald gave them a renewable source of heat, and Everyman committed to fixing the place up. Emerald returned to her sister and committed to supporting her in the protests. Though, unbeknownst to them, as they slept, Nation Man appeared at the protest, and with a threat of unsurmountable violence, quickly broke it up. Chapter 3. Enter Blue Bird. Blue Bird, real named Isaac, rolled out of bed, got showered and freshened up, then put a collared shirt over top of his blue vest and black dress pants over top of his blue spandex. He gelled and combed his blonde hair over, put on a pair of glasses, and smiled at himself in the mirror as he brushed his teeth. He strolled into the living room of his apartment. In the small kitchen area, his eyes turned to confirm his nose's suspicions. His girlfriend, Maureen, was making eggs and bacon for him, having gotten up just a little bit earlier than him. He slowly snuck up behind her and kissed her on the cheek as she giggled. "What did I do to get the most amazing woman in the entire world?" he asked. She shrugged. "You're my hero, babe. You deserve the entire world for what you do for us." Isaac bit his lip a little at this. He sat at the table as Maureen set a plate of breakfast and a cup of coffee at both of their spots. He looked up at her. He could hardly look to see his food as he just gazed at the prettiest face he had ever seen. Isaac and Maureen had been dating for 2 years, and about 3 months ago they decided to move in together. Everyone had told the two of them to enjoy the honeymoon period while it lasted, because it would not last long. They found that to be quite the contrary. Even after moving in, the small adjustments and compromises were nothing compared to the joy they got from being able to see more of each other. Everything was just so perfect. Well, except... "Should be another pretty busy day at work, so don't expect me back until late," he said. "I get it, honey," she said. "Accounting is tough work. Please just don't engage with those nasty project managers if they start to get violent again." Yes, Isaac had never found the courage, or moment, depending on how generous you want to be, to tell Maureen that he was Blue Bird. He instead told her that he was an accountant at PowerCo. He explained to her that the bruises and cuts that he sometimes received were from escalating disputes with the project management department over the classification of their project's budgets. One might be baffled at why she so easily accepted this answer, but she had a very negative experience with project management from a previous job at Frankenstein and Frankenstein. In her mind, project managers were just like that, so it made sense. Isaac finished up his coffee and went downstairs and out of the apartment. He made his way a good couple blocks down. After getting to a not-so-busy corner, he looked around and slowly snuck into a phone booth. He punched a few numbers into a keypad, and a locker came up from the ground, and the walls of the booth tinted. He stripped his outer clothes off and put them into the locker, pressing his combination again, causing it to descend back into the ground, and the phone booth to return to normal. He swapped his glasses for his blue prescription goggles. He stepped out and flew up into the sky, flapping his blue wings that stretched out from his body. The telephone boxes in Cityville were all expressly for the purpose of superheroes having a spot to change. Originally, when Nation Man proposed the idea of changing stations, he had proposed a combination of porta-potties and small restroom attachments to civic buildings. The city council and elites of the area were all opposed to anything that could give the homeless a place to rest, and tourists a place to use the restroom without paying for a coffee. In addition, they thought it would ruin the aesthetic of the city, whatever that meant. Telephone boxes, on the other hand, were retro at this point, and combined with the fact that they would be used by real superheroes, made them photo ops for young teens to post on social media. Nation Man eventually relented and altered his plans. As Blue flew through the sky, he eventually spotted a familiar sight just about a block away from the Hero Corporation HQ. He descended and gently landed next to Everyman, who was commuting to work in his usual collared costume. "Hey there, Everyman," he said. "I heard we got a special assignment, just you and I for the day." "Howdy, Blue Bird," Everyman said. "I think that's right. I'm excited for us to team up for the first time." As they were walking, they were approached by a man with a large black beard in a light blue pirate costume. Blue rolled his eyes and considered taking flight, but realized he would be leaving Everyman alone to deal with him. The man rushed forward and had a pamphlet in his hand. "Blue Bird," he said. "My cyan comrade, you be dodging me since I parted with Hero Corporation, but would you please hear me out about the benefits of the Hero Union?" "Not now, Periwinkle Pirate," he said, picking up his pace. Periwinkle's hand stretched out into a long, large hook and grabbed Blue by the waist and pulled him in closer to him. "Come on, ye scallywag. Please hear me out. No one will even talk to me since I got let go." Blue frowned. Everyman snatched the pamphlet out of Periwinkle's hand and looked at it. "Fascinating literature," he said. "We are in quite a rush today, though, so how about you give me a chance to peruse this, and we can talk later?" Periwinkle smiled and unhooked Blue. "Thank you, matey. I'll be on this corner." He ran off smiling, satisfied with getting more of a response than he had ever gotten before. Everyman quietly thought to himself, "Wow, I wish that trick worked half as well as anyone who came to my door trying to sell me stuff." He turned to Blue. "What's his deal? You seemed like you knew each other." Blue shook his head. "We both joined Hero Corporation around the same time. He got let go, though, for constantly talking about trying to do a drive to unionize the heroes in the corporation." Everyman stroked his chin. Heroes have a dangerous job, there are benefits we need, and collectively, we should have some bargaining power regarding our wages. What are some of the downsides that people see to unionizing?" "Ha," Blue chuckled a little. Maybe the fact that the head honcho, the one who could beat well over half the heroes at once with a hand tied behind his back, doesn't want it. He thinks that heroes shouldn't be driven by a salary, but by the good they can do for the world." He says that, and yet he reaps all the benefits and profits of the organization, not giving it up for the good of heroes or the world. Blue shushed him as they approached the entrance to the Hero Corporation elevator. "You need to cut it out with that. You sound like Periwinkle. I don't want you to be on the streets, freelancing for spare change. We got a good deal here. Don't go messing that up." "All right, fine. I'll stay quiet." The two got into the elevator and down into the secret HQ of the Hero Corporation. They walked into the conference room they were scheduled to have their briefing in. Upon entering, Bluebird almost stumbled as he saw a Nation Man and a highly decorated police captain in the room waiting for them. "Nation Man and Captain Carmel, Police Hero Liaison. To what do we owe this pleasure?" Everyman asked. "Shut the door," Nation Man said. Bluebird did as he asked. The captain immediately put on a slideshow showing various dead bodies, their skin primarily seeming to be covered in lesions and disgusting pus. Blue almost gagged as he looked over them. Everyman looked on with intent interest. "This is a top-secret mission, gentlemen," the captain said. "Various executives from high-ranking companies have been getting mysteriously killed by some sort of superhuman serial killer. The causes of death are all the same, and all that seems to tie the killings together are the status of the men." "Yo, this seems a bit out of our wheelhouse," Blue said. "Are you sure an A-tier hero shouldn't be handling this?" Nation Man shook his head. "No, our A-tier heroes are powerful and skilled, but many of them are meatheads and frankly idiots. Everyman, on the other hand, has proven himself to be quite a skilled investigator with the PowerCo electricity theft case. The way he and Emerald Eye incinerated the 55-year-old man responsible within 24 hours proves that he's the right man for the job." Everyman thought to himself, "Yeah, maybe it was a dangerous game fudging that report the way I did." Outside he said, "Say no more, Captain. Hand me the files and consider it taken care of." Nation Man flew right in front of Everyman at great speed, causing the papers in the office to fly into the air. He stared directly into Everyman's eyes. He raised his arm into the air. Bluebird stared, on edge, as he watched this happen, but could do nothing to stop it. Then, Nation Man stuck out his hand to shake Everyman's hand. "That's exactly what I was hoping to hear," he said. "I appreciate your to-the-point attitude, Everyman. There's no fluff and pomp to your way of doing things. On this, we see eye to eye. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have an important matter to attend to, and must make my leave." He turned towards the door, dramatically and unnecessarily flourishing his cape as he did so. The police liaison, not wanting to be outdone, turned his hat in dramatic fashion and followed him out. Blue remained somewhat confused. He turned to gather and peer over the papers left behind on the desk regarding the killings. Everyman picked up an executive summary of the murders so far. "This is going to be a lot of work," Blue said. "Neither of us are detectives, so I'm not sure why they dumped this on our plate. I think, though, if we scan for all signs of evidence, we can—" "I got it. His next target is going to be Larry Laxon of Cyber Products," Everyman said. "There's no way you figured it out that fast. What could you possibly have seen that the police didn't?" "Easy. He's specifically targeting people in C-suite positions at major companies under the age of 30. It seems to be going in order of prominence and net worth. If you follow that trend, if Larry isn't next, he's at least going to be right after. Everyman thought to himself, I did a quick internet search and found a magazine article titled 30 Self-Made Businessmen Under 30. He quite literally just seems to be working his way down this list. Whatever, Blue said. Who am I to question you? So what's the plan then? How are we going to catch him in the act? We use Larry as bait? Everyman shook his head. Gosh, no. As heroes, our first obligation is the protection of life. We have to go warn Larry his life is in danger. I left my car at home. Could I catch a ride with you? Blue sighed. Yeah, I guess. Whatever it takes. The two got onto the ground level of the Hero Corporation HQ and took flight out towards where Larry lived. Everyman held onto Blue's arms as Blue flew through the sky with a bit less ease than usual. They were about to land right in front of his secure gate, when suddenly Blue saw something out of the corner of his eye. The gate was open, and the security system was clearly disarmed. One of the windows shattered. Hey, something's going on over there. We gotta get in, he said. Sure, let's gently come to a light stop before the window, and then I can hop out. Blue pulled Everyman by the torso and slowly spun as the two flew through the window, and like a precision strike, crash-landed on the bed of the bedroom in the mansion. Everyman's automatic airbag in his costume activated upon landing, giving both of them a little more cushion. He quickly stood up and deflated it before taking in the scene before him. A robed woman, the lavender hood covering half of her face, held the businessman by the throat. She stared at the intruders with a mix of curiosity and disgust. Larry had the lesions typical of some of the victims already spreading across his face. His neck seemed to pulse as his ugly purple growth grew out of it. The woman finally spoke. Well, isn't this a surprise? What are the two of you doing here? She asked. Everyman stepped forward. He felt a strange tingle on his skin. We are here to stop you from your wanton violence, you wretch. Who are you? He felt the tingle dissipate. They call me the Lavender Leper. A cruel name, in my opinion. Blue staggered to his feet, a bit more shaken up from the impact than Everyman. Lavender tilted her head at him. She smirked a devilish smirk. You, in the blue, tell me, what is your real name? Blue gasped. He felt a chill run down his spine as he felt a tingle on his body. He was unsure why he suddenly felt so much pressure from this question. He knew he could not answer honestly, and risk his secret identity being revealed to this killer, and put Maureen at risk. He shook his head, and just answered, My name's Dave Davidson. Almost instantly, he cried out in agony as a purple welt started to grow and pulse on his neck. Everyman jumped back and then stared at Lavender. He thought to himself, This is bad. She seems to have a power that forces people to answer questions honestly or face severe consequences. This must be how she murdered all those executives. She turned her attention to Everyman. I'll ask you the same. What is your real name? Everyman, be careful. There has to be a way to... Blue was unable to finish his sentence before Everyman stepped forward with a wide grin on his face as he stared her down. My name is Everyman. I could be anyone. That's my motto because it's true. I believe that anyone can be a hero if they put their minds to it. Blue stared in awe as nothing happened. Lavender seemed a bit curious, but smiled all the same. Everyman stepped forward and swung a knife at Lavender's wrist. She pulled it back, releasing Larry from her grip. Larry ran towards the corner of the bedroom and curled himself up, scratching at his decaying skin as it writhed and kept spreading. Lavender pulled back her arm. Everyman got ready to intercept her fist, but at the last moment noticed something. He ducked under what was a massively muscular arm that stretched out and nearly struck him in the face. Everyman rolled back. As she withdrew her arm, it seemed to go back to a normal size. Everyman clocked this. So if you tell a lie, you get a disgusting welt. If you tell the truth, she gets stronger. He turned to Larry. And just a hunch, but I bet those lesions result from refusing to answer a question or putting off an answer. He chuckled. Quite an ability you have, Lavender Leper, but I can't help but notice it has one glaring weakness. She cackled a bit. Oh yeah? And what is that? He felt the tingle on his skin again. He reached towards his utility belt and smiled. Throwing knives! He started chucking knives at her, one grazing her hip. She startled and pulled open the door to the bedroom and started running out of there. Everyman slid into the hallway and threw one last one, hitting her in the back, but it was not enough. Her legs, powered by the energy she got from Everyman's honest answer, sped her out of the house way faster than Everyman could ever hope to keep up with. He returned to the bedroom to find the two others starting to recover from their afflictions. Blue had a nasty scar from where the welt had formed. Larry's lesions had started to heal, but left marks all over his body. It seemed that Lavender's powers could only inflict wounds while she was in range. Larry was heaving desperately. "Oh, thank you, heroes," he said. "You absolutely saved my life from that mad woman and her deceptive powers." Blue stood up. "You should really thank Everyman." "Nonsense," Everyman said. "If it weren't for your keen eyes and decisive action, we would have been too late. Larry, please, did you get any sign from Lavender as to what she was trying to kill you over? What lies did you tell to get some of your wealths?" Larry shook his head violently. "I told no lies. She came in here and attacked me. She asked if I was really a self-made millionaire. I told her yes. Then the wealth started. She asked if cyber products harvested everyone's data to sell to the highest bidder. And well, I knew at that point answering any of her questions honestly just caused welts, so I didn't say anything. But then that caused lesions." Everyman raised an eyebrow. "Pardon me, Larry, but is it not true that your father's an executive at the parent company of cyber products?" "Yeah, but what's that got to do with anything?" he asked. "I made my way up through the company of my own merit." Everyman nodded. "It's good I don't have Lavender's powers right now," he thought to himself. Everyman phoned in the incident to the police and stayed on site until they arrived to question Larry. Once there, Everyman gave them the information about Lavender. Bluebird and Everyman then took to the sky as they went back to write a report on the incident. The report took several hours to write, mostly because Everyman always insisted on filling out every section of the incident report. He would always say an incomplete report means an incomplete job. Eventually, they finished and Bluebird offered to fly him home. Blue, still reeling from the pain, looked down at Everyman as they flew. "How did you do that with your name?" he asked. Larry was convinced of his own lies as well, but still got hurt. "How did you get away with not giving her your real name?" Everyman looked confused. "Everyman is my identity, both secret and real. I have no other name I go by." "Well, that's convenient," he said. "I don't know what I'll say if she asks that again." "Why don't you just answer your real name? What's the problem?" "What's the problem? I don't know. The fact that my secret identity will be out in the open? The fact that they'll come after my girlfriend, my family, everyone that I love?" "Oh, I had never thought about that before. But I guess I should be a little more careful about letting strangers know that I'm Everyman. I mean, even close friends and loved ones might give up your secret too." "Hold on. What are you saying? Your own girlfriend doesn't know that you're Bluebird?" "Of course she doesn't. She thinks I'm an accountant." "Bluebird, a relationship built on lies will never prosper. If you want true love, you have to be true to yourself." He squinted. "Wait, how does that even make sense? You have 2 giant blue wings." "They're retractable. They get like really small. Never mind. I don't need to get into this with you. I can't tell her. Here you go." Blue dropped Everyman off out front of his suburban house right outside the city limits. Then he flew off. Everyman shook his head and then walked into his house, where his wife, Sharon, was handing a big pot of soup to Sparkling Sparkson. Sparkling used his electromagnetic powers to lift the otherwise heavy black pot. Sharon turned towards her husband and walked over to give him a kiss. "Hello, honey. Welcome home. I was just about to send Sparkling back to the orphanage with the soup." "Thank you so much, Miss Sharon," he said. "And thank you too, Mr. Everyman, for letting me charge my powers at your house and enrolling the orphanage in the low-income, no-shut-off plan. Of course, young Sparkling Sparkson. It's not only important for a hero to enforce the law, but also to know the laws to help advantage the disadvantaged. I hope you're continuing to use your powers responsibly." "You know it. Also, you can really just call me Sparkling." "Why don't you give the boy a ride into the city? It'll be much quicker than walking," Sharon said. "I think that's a great idea. Sparkling Sparkson, please head out. I'll be right there in a minute." Sparkling continued to carry the pot outside of the door and into Everyman's car. Everyman watched carefully for the moment that he closed the door. Sharon looked at him perplexed. "Dear, is everything all right? You seem not as upbeat as usual," she said. "Sharon, does it ever worry you that I don't have a secret identity?" he asked. "That I legally changed my name to Everyman when I started doing superhero contracting work?" "Worry about a secret identity? No, I really don't think I do." "But what if a villain wanted to get to me by getting to you?" "Well, that's what I keep this handgun on me for." She turned around to reveal the handgun holstered to her belt. She had all the appropriate licensing for concealed carry, which was something that was very important to Everyman. "But don't you wish you didn't have to do that? That no one knew you were married to Everyman? That you could live in peace?" "Live in peace?" she asked. "We live in a world of superheroes and supervillains. Edgy Earthquake trapped 20 people under the rubble before Rainbow Ranger could deal with him. We all live in danger. Plus, how hard would it be for someone to see behind a mask or get a DNA sample after a fight to get your identity? For gosh sake, with social media, you can find anybody. Everyman nodded. He leaned in and kissed Sharon. Thank you. I don't know what I was thinking. A work colleague got me paranoid. I'm proud to be Everyman, and I don't care who knows it. If I had to hide who I am, I'd be hiding my cause. He charged out the door and got into the car and heroically drove a young orphan back to the orphanage with plenty of delicious soup. Sharon looked on with a loving gaze as she thought to herself, my classic Sharon pep talks always do the trick. I prove that anyone can be a loving partner to a hero. Meanwhile, Bluebird got changed in the same phone booth he had used earlier in the day. He was so dazed from the aggressively long report he had written following his strenuous encounter with Lavender that he'd basically forgotten about his obvious wounds by the time he unlocked the door and went inside. Maureen almost immediately gasped. Isaac, what happened to you? She asked. He sighed. You know how those guys in project management are. They just never know when to quit. She stared at him dumbfounded. You have a pulsing wart on your neck and skin lesions. There's no way project management did that to you. What are you hiding from me? It was in this exact moment that Bluebird realized it was a strange decision he had made to blame all of this on work, when there were just actual supervillains in real life that he could have said attacked him, without revealing that he was Bluebird. He stammered, not knowing what to say after trapping himself in such a convoluted lie. He thought about how Everyman was right, and something like this was never going to be sustainable. I guess The doorbell rang. Isaac stepped to the side as Maureen shot him a glance that said they were not done talking about this. She opened the door to a young woman with blonde hair. She smiled with a full, bright, wide smile. Hey there, sorry to bother you around dinner time, but is there an Isaac that lives here? The voice sounded bubbly but vaguely familiar. Isaac's face dropped as he felt the slightest tingling in the tips of his fingers. Despite not being asked the question directly, he knew he could not answer it falsely without facing consequences. He stared up. Yes, he is. Who's asking? Maureen asked. It's nothing. I just wanted to give him back something he left at my place today. Maureen's face whipped around and stared at him. Lavender Leper, with her hood down, stepped in from the doorway. Maureen's face went bright red. What is the meaning of this, Isaac? She asked. Were you out seeing this woman earlier today? Yeah, Isaac. Tell her, did you see me earlier today? This time, the question directed at him. Isaac felt his skin prick at him. He could see Lavender struggle to hide her bulging muscles under her robe, caused by the direct and honest answer. I did see her, but not in the way that you mean. Not in the way that I mean, she said. Are you entangled with this woman or not? Yeah, tell her, were you not in a bedroom with me earlier today? Isaac froze. He could feel the lesions grow on his body. He wanted to scratch them, maybe show them, do anything that he could to get out of this situation, but the question needed an answer. He felt his lip quiver. He was ready to say what he needed in order to stay alive, until he was interrupted. Isaac, get down! Isaac grabbed Maureen and pulled her to the ground. Lavender turned to see Everyman pulling his arm back to sling a knife at her. With the enhanced strength, she quickly dodged to the left and growled angrily. Isaac helped Maureen back up to her feet. He noticed, as he did this, he no longer felt the compulsion to answer Lavender's question. His eyes widened and he called out to Everyman. Everyman, my skin feels fine now, even though I didn't answer. Just as I hoped, Everyman thought. I knew there had to be some way she maintained her affliction. He called out. It's her eyes. She has to be looking at you for the question to take effect. How did you know? She asked. I didn't, he thought. Until just now, anyway. He felt his skin itch. Ah, dang it. I have to say that out loud and just can't internally monologue like I usually do? I didn't. You just told me. Lavender ran towards the doorway. She yanked Everyman into the apartment with increased strength. He rolled and tumbled near Isaac and Maureen. Lavender was now in a position where she could see all three of them and blocked the only way out. She shook her head. Big mistake coming to play hero, Everyman, because I got you now, she said. Tell me, what's 87 times 166? Everyman felt the tingling start. Even for a question he did not know the answer to, he would have to answer it. He chuckled. You're a fool, Lavender Leper, he said, whipping out a calculator from his utility belt and punching numbers into it. That'll be 14,442. Her eye twitched and she stomped her foot. All right then, wise guy. What are all the digits of pi? He turned to Bluebird and solemnly nodded. She got me this time. It's up to you now, Isaac. 3.14159265535. Everyman continued rattling off the digits of pi using the internet on his phone. He hoped the link he selected would last him long enough for Bluebird to finish the fight. Maureen stared in complete confusion. "Isaac, why is Everyman here, and why does he know you? What is happening?" she asked. Lavender charged towards him, grabbed him by the throat, with her strength from the math answer, and tossed him out the window. "Yes, why don't you tell her who you really are? Or die. Your choice." The glass shattered, and time seemed to dilate as Bluebird fell from the window. The second he had fallen a few feet down, he felt the tingling stop. It would be trivial in this moment to fake his own death, to fly away at the last minute and come back as Bluebird, carrying off a decoy body. Everyman would realize in a moment or two that he could still continue to fight while counting off the digits of pi. Isaac would be dead, and Bluebird would be all that remains. Maureen would be safe from any future attacks like this that were brought on by his hero work. He could practically hear Everyman's voice in his head. "But what would be the point, Bluebird? To love is to risk everything. What are you fighting for if not the ones you love?" This imaginary speech riled him. He pulled his goggles from his shirt and pulled them over his face. His wings ripped out from his collared shirt, revealing the vest below. He surged up, soaring gracefully as he floated. "I am Isaac, first and foremost. But I am also Bluebird. And now, you're going to see what happens when you threaten the people I love." 480865! Everyman said enthusiastically. Lavender turned Maureen. "Where are your knives? Where are your weapons?" Bluebird flapped his wings, causing a gale-force wind to fill the apartment. In the intensity of the wind, Lavender covered her eyes, causing her concentration on Maureen to be broken. She went to stand up, before she saw Everyman coming towards her with duct tape in hand, to shut her mouth. She turned to him, covering her eyes on one side to block the wind. "What are the digits of—" Her mouth was suddenly filled with a surge of blue feathers, as Bluebird seemed to jettison them into the stream and control them in the wind, just enough to cause them to fill her mouth and interrupt her question. Everyman tackled her and put the duct tape on, and wiped the sweat from his brow as he used his handcuffs to restrain her. "Good thinking, Bluebird. Now leave getting her to the station to me. I think the two of you have some talking to do." He quickly got Lavender out of the apartment with him. "You're Bluebird," Maureen said. "All this time, you've been a superhero." "I'm sorry, Maureen," he said. "I should have told you, but I didn't want you to worry. I didn't want it to be used against you. I realize now that was wrong." "No, I understand. It must be difficult, but I'm glad I know now." She shuffled her feet. "Is everything all right?" he asked. "Yes, I actually feel really good now. When you came home and were clearly lying to me, I thought that was going to disrupt everything. It made me doubt what I was going to do." His eyebrow raised. "What were you going to do?" "Yes, Isaac, or Bluebird, however I should call you. I may not have the power to make you answer questions honestly, but there's still one thing I want to ask you." She pulled out a set of engagement rings. "Will you marry me?" "Yes, of course, Maureen," he said. "Of course I will." The two embraced. Everyman, with his slightly above-average hearing, could hear everything from the street below and smiled. He also thought they should really work to get that window fixed soon. The next week, Bluebird flew out from the newly repaired window and towards the Hero Corporation HQ. He saw down below that Periwinkle Pirate was still in the corner. He seemed to be in less good spirits. Bluebird dropped down before him. He seemed to be panhandling. This caught Isaac by surprise, and he stopped to talk to him. "Periwinkle, what are you doing?" he asked. "I know the non-Hero Corporation contracts are not as lucrative, but I would at least think they could keep you off the streets." The pirate looked surprised at him. You really haven't heard either? No one seems to be sharing it. That doesn't seem like a good sign." "Periwinkle, what do you mean? What's not a good sign?" In the time that he stalled giving an answer, Blue really wished he had Lavender's power to compel the truth. He stared in anticipation as Periwinkle finally spoke. "Me powers be gone. I woke up one day. There was an injection mark in my arm, and I couldn't use my powers, but no sign of anything else. The police won't look into it. Everyone at Hero Corporation hears it and ignores it. Blue matey. I don't know what's going on here, but it isn't good." Thank you so much for listening to this chapter of the Heroic Adventures of Everyman. If you enjoyed, please rate the podcast, give it a like on YouTube, or share with someone else who you think might also enjoy. You can stay up to date with the Heroic Adventures of Everyman by following us on social media. That'll be D Squared Stories on just about any of the major platforms. Thanks again for listening, and I hope to have you listen again next week.